Hello, welcome to the United Man. My name is Shane. Today, just wanted to go through the match review. That is Manchester United against Leicester. Just give you a quick few views on how I think it went. First of all, wanted to touch on, obviously, we got the win, which is obviously good, to say at the least. But, still opportunity for improvement, which is obvious. We looked defensively solid enough. Maguire, for me, so far, I know it's obviously only early in the season, but he's got to be our player this season. He's just he reads the game so well, positions himself very well. I know De Gea had to make a couple of saves today, which obviously he should do. And just whilst we're on De Gea, just to say it's a good job he's staying with us. Happy about that. But we're defensively solid enough today to see through the win. Leicester did have a few opportunities, obviously, which is that's going to happen. But what I was looking on is if obviously because the penalty was very early and a good penalty it was from Rashford. But I was thinking to myself, if Rashford doesn't score this, there's just going to be an absolute uproar again, and it's going to make his life hell for next week or until at least the next game. So I'm glad he tucked it away. I'm glad we could defend a win and ultimately get the job done. As I touched on before, it wasn't the best of wins in terms of putting a team away, for example, but at least we got the 3 points on the board. Now, normally we've created and dominated lots of opportunities this season. It was quite obvious today that we missed Paul Pogba, which you could expect. A player of his quality, it just looked so open and empty out there without him. Now, that being said, I'm glad we could get the win without him, but it just goes to show if he's not in there, it's a totally different game. As I said, all the other games we dominated, created lots of opportunities. We just haven't been putting them away. But with Pogba in there, you can just see the quality. You can see the difference. And also the opportunities and the chances that he makes and creates, or the phase of play that he's part of. That being said, I'm glad the fact that because Pogba wasn't in there today, it shows to Ollie and the board that, well, okay, yeah, we can grind out a result barely. Now we've only scored one goal again. Obviously that was the case against Wolves as well, but I just feel as though if the board's seen that today, seeing that Pogba wasn't on the pitch, seeing the difference in how we didn't dominate, surely they've got to look at that. Not obviously Ollie will know anyway, but surely the board will see that today and think, maybe we should put this right. In terms of throwing some cash at it, unlike at the summer where we pulled out on quite a few deals. I'm still well, the jury's still out for me on whether or not Scott McTominay can play in the Manchester United side. I don't believe he's good enough to consistently play there. Now, I'd love to see him, develop and kick on. But he's 23, as I said. By that time, you're that age as a professional footballer. More than likely, not you are the player you're going to be for the rest of your career. You may obviously improve in certain tweaks, but Scott McTominay is what he is. Don't think he's going to get any better as a passer or positionally wise. He's a workhorse. So I've said before that he's more of a Darren Fletcher, but Darren Fletcher technically was a lot better than Scott McTominay. He had the work rate of Scott McTominay. Probably didn't have the physicality, but yeah, he had the work rate and the drive, determination, all that jazz. I just can't see McTominay staying in the lineup come, say, for example, if we do business in January, if we do business next summer, which we will do, I'd be surprised come the end of next summer's transfer window that McTominay will still be starting for Manchester United. Matic played today, obviously. It it just slows everything down. It's not his fault, particularly. Our system doesn't suit him. He is no longer defensively the player he was, or positionally where he was at Chelsea and his first, season or 6 months at Manchester United, which is sad to see because when Matic came to Manchester United, I was like, yes, I'm glad. For me, I was thinking he's the final piece of the jigsaw. Bearing in mind we had obviously Pogba already. I just feel Matic's time is up, which a lot of people, other people do as well. So that being said, I would like to see us, because if McTominay is not good enough and Matic isn't good enough, that's only Pogba. Pogba on his own, as you've seen, isn't enough for us to win anything in the Premier League or whatever the case may be. So that being said, we need to obviously add. And I've done a video before this that I'll release shortly, where I'm pretty much speaking in regards to other midfielders that we should sign. Some of them are quite obvious, and I believe we need to add 2 central midfielders to go along with Paul Pogba for us to really dominate as the likes of Manchester City and also Liverpool, obviously. Spurs getting the 4-0 win today. We do need to really have a high degree of quality to back up Paul Pogba. That will create even more chances, not just chances, quality chances, which in turn obviously ends up as hopefully goals. That being said, goals. We need a number 9, a Harry Kane, if you like, Aubameyang, if you like, Suarez, if you like, I don't know, Lewandowski, that we've been linked with loads. We need that central striker who is just a goal getter, who is going to deliver you at least 20 league goals per season, maybe 25 overall or 30 overall. Liverpool have 2. They've got Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah. Chelsea, Tammy Abraham getting a hat-trick today, and I don't know how many he's got this season, but I think maybe 5, 6 maybe he's got, I don't know. But we're struggling. We're struggling to score goals. We had this conversation before the season started, and lo and behold, yes, we're struggling to score goals. 1 penalty is nothing to shout home about. In terms of the chances created, wasn't clear cut per se. Too many clear cut chances. So yeah, it's there for all to see. We do need to get it together basically. How's it going, Danny? Glad to see. Danny said, "How's it going? Glad to see you again on YouTube, Gaffer." Danny, top man. This guy is superstar in the waiting, man. Just keep doing what you're doing, Danny. Danny does all my graphics for me as well, and all my logos, everything you'll probably see on most, if not all, my videos. Danny's looks after it. So if you need graphics as well, go and check out his YouTube channel as well. Also, like I said, if you need graphics, go and check him out. Send him a message. He's brilliant. Before I go on, wanted to touch on the fact that how important is De Gea signed for us, and he's now, I believe, the highest paid Man United player, which is good. He's earned it. If we lost David De Gea, how long did it take us to replace Peter Schmeichel? We didn't replace Peter Schmeichel until we got Edwin van der Sar. Who do we have in between then? Barthez, Raymond van der Hal, Massimo Taibi. Who else? Roy Carroll. The list goes on. We had tons and tons of keepers. Point is, what I'm making is the fact that if we didn't have David De Gea in goal, as good as Sergio Romero is, we'd struggle even more. So, for example, the chance De Gea saved from James Maddison today, another keeper, because De Gea was going to his left and the shot was to his right. He adjusted quickly, and as his body's going to his left, he actually saved it with his right foot going away from goal. So for me, it's crucial that we have a fantastic goalkeeper. Now, we're building that defence in terms of Wan-Bissaka, Maguire and Victor Lindelof. Luke Shaw, unfortunately, unless he comes back and has a stormer of a season, I wouldn't say it'd be his last season at Manchester United, but I can see us going out and signing another left back. I was willing to give Luke Shaw, much more opportunities this season, but because of his form or their lack of, and also his injury history, doesn't look good. Doesn't look good for Luke Shaw. And he said McTominay played like a Scottish lanky Herrera. Now, I think as we've touched on in regards to McTominay, ultimately I don't think he will stay in terms of the starting lineup of Manchester United. I don't think he's good enough, but he is good enough to be within the Manchester United squad and get some minutes on the pitch. But in terms of, as I mentioned before, in terms of us actually doing something with, in terms of winning, gaining a Champions League place, McTominay can't be starting. Fred obviously got a cameo today. I think Tuanzebe and who else was it? Steve Chong got a cameo today. Now, Angel Gomez was on the bench. I was thinking, I didn't say anything about it because I was just hoping he'd get on and, have a brilliant performance, cameo role. Didn't get the opportunity, unfortunately. And I keep saying it, I've said it in a few more videos before. I believe Mason Green will get the opportunities this season, but I don't believe Angel Gomez will. And so far, it's proven to be the case. So unfortunately, and it is very unfortunate, I wouldn't be surprised if come summertime, Angel Gomez is knocking on whoever the manager's door at the time and saying, I want to leave. I'm not going to get any opportunities here. He's going to be 19 by that time. And I couldn't blame him. I really couldn't blame him. So I hope that's not the case. And he gets, at least 15 starts, which I know that's hoping against hope. But there's lots of league games. There's lots of Europa League games. I'd hope that, we go deep in Europa League and he gets a start in that competition. Danny said he's a first teamer for now, as we don't have any other. Yeah, no, that's absolutely right, Danny. Unfortunately, we don't have anyone else. I know Fred got on today, made a brief cameo appearance, but is Fred going to be the answer at this moment in time? He's catching up with his fitness compared to everyone else. That's a very, very long time. If Ollie's just had him catching up fitness-wise, that's a long time trying to catch up. And yeah, can't see the reason why myself, but there you go. I'm not a professional footballer. So yeah, I'm glad to see Fred back in the fold, purely because I want to see what he can do. We've not seen him for any kind of extended period of time. Obviously, Mourinho bought him, didn't fancy him, didn't play him, and he's obviously got married in the summer, missed out on a whole load of fitness work in the pre-season, and I'm assuming that's why he's not been playing. We don't know, can only speculate, but it's good to see him on the pitch. If I'm honest, today's performance, the fact that we haven't created much, said two things. As I mentioned before, one, Pogba is sorely needed and was missed today. Two, we need other alternatives because Pogba can't and won't play every single game. And when he's not in those games, are we just going to suffer and struggle like we did today and give away possession like we did today? I'll go through some of the possession stats. Possession-wise, we had 42% to Leicester's 42.3 to Leicester's 57.7. We had a total number of shots was 10 to Leicester's 9. We had 5 on target to Leicester's 3. Passing-wise, 75% to Leicester's 79%. And obviously our ball possession was, we only passed the ball in Leicester's attacking third 63% of the time. So, yeah, not great. We didn't have any clear-cut chances created to Leicester's 1. Well, I think that was James Maddison's opportunity that De Gea saved. Crosses, 22 to Leicester's none. Corners, we had 3 to Leicester's 9. And, yeah, it goes into, obviously, all the other finer stats and whatnot. Goalkeeping, I put down here, obviously, De Gea's made 3 saves to Schmeichel's 4. But the position that we're in now, we really can't be. We've got to give these players opportunity, because if we then generally go and sign this player and that player, and they're starting 11 caliber players, we'll never know if these players are good enough because you've gone out and spent another, I don't know, 100 million on a midfielder or two, and on or another 40 million or 50 million on a striker. So the likes of Angel Gomez, who hasn't played very much, the likes of Fred, who hasn't played very much, Mason Greenwood, as I said, I believe will still get opportunities, but yeah, it's not. We've got to give these lads opportunities. I'm just hoping that Ollie's got them in mind for the cup competitions and Europa League. Wanted to touch on Daniel James as well. He's been looking impressive. I still believe he's got a long way to go in terms of being the finished article. What we've got to bear in mind, he is actually the same age as Marcus Rashford, which is 21. Now, the reason I'll say that is because I've been on Marcus Rashford's back purely because Ollie's made him the number 9, the go-to guy, the main man, the striker. Well, I say number 9, just the main focal point of in terms of goal scoring. Obviously, Martial's number 9, but I just can't see it. If in terms of comparison, you have to look across the pond in France in terms of someone that's a similar age as Marcus Rashford, and that's Kylian Mbappe. As I said, he scored over 30 goals in all competitions last season. Rashford's nowhere near that. I think he got 13 last season. So that's why I keep referring back to that. The fact that Ollie's put all this on Rashford. I know we was in the market for another striker, a veteran striker, but we didn't get him. So we've let Lukaku go and we've let Sanchez go. I just really, and I've said this before, I said we're going to get injuries, lack of form, and all that other jazz. And lo and behold, it started straight away. But I suppose we've just got to go with what we've got. So, yeah, just got to see how it goes. Danny said James struggles a lot on the right-hand side. Yeah, I agree. He's not a good crosser of the ball. And generally, if you start as not being a very good crosser, you don't really go on to be a very good crosser. Something you pick up in your earlier years, technically. So he'll be more of a whip it in low and hard guy from the right-hand side, but he's more dangerous off the left side, where he can come in off the left and look to shoot with his right, or put it along the ground, go to the byline, put it on the ground or with his left foot. Anyway, much appreciated, guys, for you joining me today. As I said, there's another video that I'm going to be releasing shortly after this one. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining me. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. See you later.